Hey guys, we are back here for another video. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. So y'all, we got some stuff to get into, and it's bad, but we're gonna still talk about it. Now, this is what we're gonna talk about. We have been talking about Ashleebraxton on this show. And some of the things that she has said that she suffered, as a child and growing up. Just subjected it to, mean, cruelty, and a whole bunch of stuff. I don't even want to try to remember it, but I had spoke about her going on Tamar Braxton's podcast. And the first thing came to my mind, I said, I hope they're not using this girl, because it looked like they really used their nephew for ratings for the show. And I'm going to let y'all be the judge of it. But let's get into our intro and then we'll talk about it. But I'm going to tell you this. It looks like they did the same damn thing to Ashlee. But let's get into it.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Now, as I stated, I'll let you guys be the judge and we'll just talk about what exactly I'm going to show you. So for those of you who may not even know what I'm talking about, I'm going to bring you up to speed as well. So Tamar Braxton started a podcast most recently, with this podcast that she has. Apparently, it is like a live show. If any of you guys follow Carlos King, he did something similar. I have not ever been there, but I think he had put it on his YouTube channel. And let me try to calm down because I'm irritated. But I said, I'm going to do this video now because I was just like, oh my God. But anywho, guys, Tamar invited her niece, Ashlee, onto her show. And let's get into the promo for the show. For those of you who may not know, Tamar started a podcast, and this is what she advertised on her on her Instagram page with regards to her live show that she's going to have her niece Ashlee on.
It's been a really long journey, and it's been a really long journey of not having people behind me. It's been a long journey of people not believing me. It's been a long journey of what do I even say? How do I say it? It's been such a long journey.
My mom abandoned my sister and I when we were young. I was like 6, and she had a whole nother family. She took her name off of our birth certificate, and she had a whole nother family, and she didn't want us to exist.
Some of you have asked, like, who in my family have I spoken to? And I've spoken to some of my family since this happened, and that was really awesome, and I appreciate them and love them a lot. And the others I haven't, and that's totally fine.
I got a message yesterday from my father, and he said to zip it up tight, don't speak, girl, and that he lawyered up.
It's been a really long journey.
Okay, guys, so that is pretty much the promo that Tamar was pushing, to tell people, hey. So this is what she was pushing on her Instagram, it's promo, telling people, hey, come buy tickets to my show. But in that snippet, you heard or you saw her niece talking about, her life and the things that she endured. So to give you guys a quick recap, the girl that you just saw, or if you don't know who Ashleebraxton is, this is Tamar's niece, which is her brother's daughter. Now, the mother allegedly left, wanted to take her name off the birth certificate, and somehow they were able to put his girlfriend on the birth certificate. Ashlee says the lady left, never heard from her again, and she went and had a whole nother family. And Ashlee said she was abused, and she stated that one of her aunts boyfriends or husband, I don't remember exactly the terminology she used, was, I guess, sending her inappropriate messages or something to that particular nature. So yeah, it's really weird. So I'm just showing you guys the promo so you can kind of understand where this is all going. Okay.
Greenville County Detention Center for public intoxication. Greenville police say Leandra Johnson was charged with public intoxication and having an open container on a public street yesterday.
Child, I think people have finally figured out who Ashleebraxton was talking about when she said that her aunt's partner made inappropriate moves on her when she was just 16.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Tamar Braxton, and I'm here to cordially invite you to Life, Love, and Beyond.
Okay, guys, so that is the podcast, and I am so taken back because I thought that that was just going to be a story that Tamar was sitting down with her niece to strictly talk about the niece and some of the things that were going on. But apparently this was a production. This was a production, and Ashley is saying that this was, I hope y'all don't hear my dog. Jeez. But anyway, Ashley is saying that this was taped unbeknownst to her. Somehow she was there to tape for the show, y'all, and didn't even know. So she kind of went along with it. But I'm going to get into another video because I want you guys to see and hear what Ashley is saying. And I also want to add this in. Ashley is being very discreet, and she's not. Let me let my dog do it. Come on. Get here. So Ashley is being, excuse me, this dog is irritating. Move. So Ashley is being very discreet, and she doesn't want to say much, but you know, as she stated, she wants to, you know, be honest with her story. Y'all, this is so devastating. And I said originally that I hope they wasn't trying to play on her and try to use her for views and clicks. But again, I'm going to let y'all be the judge because we all have different understandings of things that we actually watch. So I need you all to watch this on your own so that you can develop your own take on what you heard her say.
I'm looking at my emails and I got an email that pops up. And this is cease and desist letter from you know who, from the one who shall not be named, to Lord Voldemort. And I was like, and immediately I was back to that little kid again. I also had to kind of like take over the wheel and be like, this is my space. This is my place. This is my platform. This is my story. This is what I want to talk about. This is what happened to me. This is not me trying to convince you that this is what happened to me. No, it happened to me. There's enough proof. There's enough evidence of all the things that I'm saying, and whatever you feel like you want to do with it, that's on you. You know what I mean? I'm not asking for somebody to come in and save me anymore. I am saved. I saved myself, really, actually, is what I did. I saved myself. And I'm not asking anything from anybody. I'm good. That's kind of where I'm at in a nutshell. I'm good. Guys, I know it's been a while since I've been on here, but I'm not gonna lie, you guys, it took me a while to get here. I was in the States. I got sick, as you can hear kind of right now, like I'm really sick. And I've also just been working, which I'm really grateful for, but like I've had commercials to shoot and like auditions to go for. And then I had to come home and kind of process everything and like get my mind together and go to therapy and like have a session and realize like, okay, what I'm going to say. So I'm going to put this into two parts. Part number one is going to be like how I'm feeling now and pre-podcast. And part number two is going to be podcast. I think it's important to kind of like break those up you even follow me on this journey, you know that this is like a lot to keep up with and to kind of pay attention to, it's kind of like listen to. So I felt like it's a little bit easier, and that way I can say what I want to say without trying to feel rushed to cram it into one video. And also I realized on this trip that I'm talking to like a few groups of people, but I realized that the group that I want to be talking to are the survivors, you know? And so part 1, part 2, here you go. All right, let's talk about today. What am I feeling today? First and foremost, I am a survivor. And I didn't realize that until the trip. I was like, wait a minute. You know, because people were like, why are you telling this story? And I was like, I was kind of getting offended by it. Like, what you mean why I'm telling this story? But then I realized that people didn't really get it. And I was like, oh, no. I'm a survivor. I'm healed. Like, I'm not completely healed because I think healing is continuous, but I'm a survivor, you know? And so I realized that in this trip that people like thought that I'm trying to do this for something or for some like, they're like, oh, you just, what did somebody say? I was having an outburst. What? And I think that that is so funny because no, I'm not having an outburst, baby. I'm not having an outburst, honey. I survived. So first and foremost, I'm a survivor. So claps to me, okay? Number 2, like the inner me is so, the inner child of me is so happy because for the longest time, she's been trying to reach out to people to be like, I need help. You know, I'm living in chaos. I need help. And so from the church, from school, from friends' parents, from family, like I have been asking for help. And like the inner me has been like, hello. It's really interesting too, because it's like people never believed me. And even now, because it's like, girl, your last name is this. What I'm speaking about, you wouldn't ever expect, I guess, maybe. So for a lot of people, it's kind of like shocking. But then also I think people don't know how to handle it. It's like, okay, sorry, or like, what are you looking for from all of this? And the greatest part about it now, though, is like, I'm not looking for anything. I just survived and I'm just telling my story so that the other survivors can hear it and know that, like, you guys did a great job. And also, if you're going through it, like, you have to come out on top and you will come out on top. I didn't have this growing up. I didn't have somebody that I had books, but I didn't have somebody that I could look up to or that I could go on the internet and hear somebody tell their story and be like, dang, that's me. I'm a survivor. So that's my MO. I'm also feeling better too, because it's like, I think the comments and the scrutiny of all of it kind of got to me a little bit as well. And I just felt a little bit judged. And I was playing this role of like, I have to tell my story so that people believe me. And it's like, I had somebody say to me this trip that was like, girl, you are not here to tell your story to be believed. You are a survivor, period. And you're talking to a certain group of people. And I was like, okay, yeah, I feel that. I definitely feel better about that because it felt very much like I had to have a list of all the things that happened. And I was like, okay, so this happened. What do you know what I mean?
Okay, guys, I just want to jump in to say this. What Ashley is describing, she's describing her trip to the US to meet Tamar. So just so you guys are understanding what she's saying, she's just describing what happened. Now, you know, continue to pay attention because she's going to give us some real information without really divulging much. But I'm going to let y'all hear it. But I just wanted to point out that she is talking about her trip to meet Tamar Braxton, her aunt, which she ended up going on her podcast.
I mean, I'm trying to convince people to believe me, but I don't need to do that. Sorry. So right now I'm feeling very good. I'm still a little bit, like I said, I'm a little bit sick, but at the same time, I'll take it. I just got a whole bunch of vitamins as well. And so I'm feeling like a refreshness of me. It's like a second part of my life has begun and I'll never be the same. that's also something that's really cool as well. It's like, I'll never be the same person again. The person who I was before I told this story is not the person who I am after I told this story. And I think that that's pretty cool too. So if you're a survivor of abuse, make some noise in the comments, and not as a space and place for other people to look at it, like just for you and for me and for us to have this relationship and this conversation, and just this thing where it's like, yeah, we're survivors and we did it. And it's so cool that I'm building this community of people who actually get me and understand me, because that's such a big part of me and a big part of my life that I've just excluded and realized that it is a part of me. So I can't build a community without addressing those things. Like, this is my tribe and I'm happy. And me and my tribe, we're good. You know what I mean? So I'm happy. It's also, I feel like everything was just getting out of hand in terms of like where the narrative was going and all this. It just felt like everybody was taking a piece and was like, it's about me. It's about, like, wait a minute. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's not about you. Like, this is my story, you know?
Wanted to jump right in there. So she's saying, you know, when she arrived, everybody was making it about them. Now, don't that remind you of the Braxtons? Is that not who we have been seeing when we watch them on the show? So she's going to describe her experience. Right now, she's thinking that she came to tell her story. And when she gets there, it's about everybody but her.
Everybody is entitled to tell their story how they want to tell it, wherever they want to tell it, if you choose to tell it or not. It's just not my choice. That's not my opinion. I can't care. Like, it's so weird. It's like you have your own space and place and platform to do whatever you want to do. And so do it on yours. You know what I mean? I also had to kind of like take over the wheel and be like, this is my space. This is my place. This is my platform. This is my story. This is what I want to talk about. This is what happened to me. This is not me trying to convince you that this is what happened to me. No, it happened to me. There's enough proof. There's enough evidence of all the things that I'm saying, and whatever you feel like you want to do with it, that's on you. You know what I mean? I'm not asking for somebody to come in and save me anymore. I am saved. I saved myself, really, actually, is what I did. I saved myself. And I'm not asking anything from anybody. I'm good. That's kind of where I'm at in a nutshell. I'm good. So that I'm feeling like, oof, oof, oof. So thank you. I'm proud of me. I'm proud of my inner child. I'm proud of us. We made it. We survived. We lost some people along the way, but you know what? We're here today. We're strong. I left to go to the US on Sunday. So I think it was either like Wednesday or Thursday. No, maybe Wednesday. I look through my phone. I'm looking at my emails and I got an email that pops up. And it's a cease and desist letter from you know who, from the one who shall not be named, to Lord Voldemort. And I was like, and immediately I was back to that little kid again. The little kid who was told to shut up. The little kid who had to hold everything in and be quiet. Like, it just felt like somebody was pressing on that part again. You know, it feels like somebody's going like this to you, and it's like somebody's starting to squeeze it, and I'm starting to feel like this again. Like, oh no, people are trying to shut me up. It's crazy. Took a little bit to process that. There's a lot of anger in that. There's a lot of like disappointment. Also feelings of just kind of being over it, because it's like, what's this? Do you know what I mean? There's been no phone call to me, but there's text messages, there's this letter, cease and desist, and it feels like everybody around me is talking. There's a lot of chatter going around, and I can hear it and I can feel it, but it's like there's no chatter that's coming directly to me in terms of like a phone call or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It's very much like, here's a text message and here's a letter. And, you know, when I had my therapy session and I had a chance to kind of sit down and think about it, I was just like, you know, what we kind of put together is like, what do you do when you're scared? Do you know what I mean? When you're fearful, that's kind of how you decide to act. And so, you know, now that I'm here, I can kind of understand where it comes from. But at the same time, it was super stressful because, you know, then I didn't know also that when I was going to the US that I was going to be doing a scene with Braxton Family Values. And so that kind of caught me off.
So I must say something. Did y'all just hear what she said? She said, I didn't know that I was doing a scene with Braxton's Family Values. I said this from the beginning. I said, I hope this is genuine, and I hope that this is not something to boost views and to put her on something so that y'all can again take advantage like you took advantage of your nephew. Now, she came to do a podcast with her aunt only to find out she's doing scenes. So apparently if she showed up to do a scene and you didn't tell her, that means one of two things. Well, it could mean only one thing. She didn't even get paid. So here we go, using and abusing people that are already healing and trying to maybe seek her family acceptance, which is the reason why she's saying she no longer needs to get acceptance from other people because of what she went through when she came to do this podcast. Now, y'all let that sink in. You tell her that you're doing a podcast, which you did, but it was more than what I thought because it seems like that podcast is going to be on the show as well. So why didn't you tell her this? Because it seems like she was totally caught off guard, y'all. And it's going to even get even more creepier. But I'm going to let the video play. Occasionally, I will jump in, but this is really, really bad.
Off guard too. And I was just like, okay, you know, what am I going to say? How am I going to say it now? How am I going to voice my opinion? Like, it became about you, became about this one. And it's like, I don't want to say something that could actually legally get me in trouble because I don't feel like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just so much pain in it. And so it was just really stressful on the way. And I tried to have brave face, and I tried to just, it's why I just didn't post. It's why I didn't really talk. It's just heavy, you know what I mean? Because, you know, in life,
And I have to, jump in here from time to time because this is really her content. So for anybody in the comments to say, let the video play out, you can go to her, page and watch the whole thing straight. But this is what I have to do because this is not my video. So did you guys catch what she said? Because she's telling her story she's saying how she felt, but she said she really didn't want to say anything because she don't want to make people mad. Why in the fuck would you have her come to the United States and not tell her she's filming for Braxton Family Values? I ain't gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. But y'all, this is up. This is really, really messed up that you will utilize somebody's pain to make you a few dollars. Now, this is your niece. I don't know this woman from a can of paint, but I know trauma and I know how trauma exists in families. And if this was my daughter, somebody would be getting their ass whipped. Well, it wouldn't be my daughter because I wouldn't have never left her, but let's let the video go before I just go on a tangent because this is just so wrong.
life is very unfair. And I think you realize you want a situation to go the way that works for you, right? Like you want the support, you want the love, you want what you feel like you need, but that's not really life, right? Like life gives you the things that you just have to learn how to deal with. On the lead up to going to the US, it just was like, I don't even know if I want to go. I don't even know, like what am I doing? I started to doubt myself. I started to think about you know, is this the right way for me to talk about things? Like, also, what am I about to walk into? Am I about to be ambushed? You know, I was very scared when I was even just arriving in the A. I was like, what if somebody's outside? Do you know what I mean? There's threats inside of the text message that I had received from before. And so it was just very much like, I'm not really feeling safe.
And I'm jumping in again. Always go with whatever you feel your gut, because 9 times out of 10, it is not going to steer you wrong. Now, y'all help me. Please help me. Why is it that you are going to the U.S. to visit your family? You're obviously going to see some family members. You're doing a podcast. You're taping the Braxton's Family Values. You know, at some point when you got here, they sprung it on you, but you don't even feel safe. You don't feel safe around motherfuckers that's supposed to be your family. I got to pick this thing up because that's a story in itself. If you feel like you are not safe around your own family, I got a solution. Don't go around them, because everything that she was feeling, it seems to have manifested, but apparently it was coming through as fear, because it's just something about us. We may not know what's going to happen, but we kind of feel something is off. And this is what she's saying. Like, the whole thing was off before the trip. You know, things just were not going right. To get there, to start to feel scared. And then now she's wondering, the text that she received that had threats in them, she never said who it was from. So we can only imagine. Maybe it was from her dad or who, we don't know. But the fact of the matter is, she went all the way to the United States, which that's not where she is. She doesn't live in the US, to do a podcast, thinking that she was going to be sitting down with her family, and possibly this was going to be a moment for her to, I don't know, reach some clarity, only to be disappointed.
You know, and I was grateful that I had my friends who were there to kind of support, and it felt very much like, you know, everybody's like, send your location, girl. Everybody was just checking in, like, are you okay? You know, I had to let some people know what could be happening. I had to let people know where I was at. It was just a very stressful moment. I think it's just important for me to share this, because you could also be going through the same thing, or maybe this is why you're not sharing yourself or sharing your stories, because you're afraid of the repercussions and the backlash. I feel like people were trying to do a good job of trying to shut me up and to try to make me be quiet, and I can understand. But at the same time, this is why I say tell your story, is because
Okay. And so I felt this when I saw, Ashley on social media, and Tamar reached out to her. That was the first thing that came to my mind. But then y'all were like, oh no, Tamar is, her and Tamar are good. But it just seemed like it was something else that was going on. So she done went way from where she lived to the United States to come on to the Braxtons, which nobody told her, right? Until she showed up. That's what she said. She was feeling unsafe, which is a clear indication that things were happening, that she felt that, hey, let me let somebody know where I am. She said conversations were happening around her, and occasionally people were texting, but nobody ever picked up the phone. Y'all, please help me out. I mean, what am I missing? What am I missing here?
as there's no story that you could put out about me that's going to make me be quiet. Do you know what I mean? And sure, if you feel like that's what you need to do, then you got to do it. But at the same time, it's like, you got to make sure that you tell. It's like, I don't really know what you could say about.
And so we have yet to learn what the Braxton family, not no damn values, the Braxtons, I don't even remember what they call that bullshit show. So it seems like Ashley is going to be the target for this upcoming season. And if it is, we're going to start a damn petition because they need to go. They need to go. Like, why isn't Tamar telling her story about all her failed marriages that never worked and about this most recent one where she was dragged every day by a whole Caucasian? Towanda, tell about your story. Tell about, the story of your kids. Tell about that. I mean, Trina, tell about your story. Your husband's always disrespecting you, and maybe you disrespecting them too, but why aren't we talking about that? What is her name? Tony. What's going on with you and Birdman? Let's talk about y'all life. Y'all continue to expose people and try to put people on Front Street when y'all got effed up lives yourself. So what Ashley is saying is they possibly brought her on this show to try to make her look stupid and possibly make it seem like she's a liar. And I cannot wait for this show to come on.
I mean, that I haven't already said about me. And I think that that is so, so, so important. And if you're somebody who's facing this time of your life, or maybe this is why you're scared, is because you feel like there's going to be so much backlash against you, or people are not going to believe you. That also threw me for a loop. I'm going to put this part in part 2, but I didn't realize that I had actually surrounded myself with people that I thought believed me, but in reality didn't. And I was picking up on it, and I was trying to make it so that they would believe me. You know what I mean? Like, my energy was like, how can I be believed?
Hence what I just said. She said she didn't realize that she was surrounded by people who didn't even believe what she was saying. So wait a minute. You called me all the way here to do a podcast for you to financially benefit, for me to come on to your show, the Braxton's Raggedy Show, whatever it's called, only for you to seemingly humiliate me because you don't even believe what I'm saying?
And I'm going to talk about that in part 2, but that also kind of threw me for a loop as well. My people, my tribe here, I think people just know me for a different version of me. And so they know that this is something that I'm passionate about. They know that I've been talking about this for a while. It's not like it's just come up out of the blue. They know that this was the next step in my journey, in terms of like sharing. And so for them, it was very much like, I'm so proud of you. This is the next step. You're being very courageous. You can do it. You're going to get a lot of backlash. You know that it's going to be some support, but then some not support, and you just have to keep going. So pre-podcast for me was a lot, but at the same time, it took a lot out of me, but it definitely made me stronger mentally. And I just have a different perception in terms of sharing and telling my story. So I'm actually doing a talk in, I think it's either 2 or 3 months, and I'm going to be on stage and sharing my story in another aspect, in a space and place of like this. I'm an advocate for abuse, and I'm speaking to a crowd of people who have been abused. So the energy is going to be completely different, but I have a different energy in terms of my deliverance of what I'm trying to say, because it's not even a space and place of like, do you believe me? It's not like, please, do you believe me? Please, sir, can I have some more? It's not even that. It's very much like, no, this is it. This is what happens to me. This is who I am today. And if you're a survivor, put your hands up in the air and say, amen. And if you are in the process of becoming a survivor, we got you. We got your back. You can do it. You can do anything. It's not going to be easy, but it's okay. This is like your triumph of your life. And sometimes life gives you shitty things, and sometimes life gives you situations that you didn't ask for. But for you to be able to overcome them, now you can live the next part of your life. So So stay tuned for part 2. But if you're a survivor, put your hands up. It's time to really celebrate you. I didn't know. I feel like I'm a little bit even kind of new to the space. I'm ready to kind of come in.
Okay, guys, of course, let me know what you think. I kind of gave you my commentary throughout, but what I gathered from that is ambush. That's what I gathered. Ambush, ambush, ambush. Now, if you guys didn't see or hear the sprinkles that she put in there, I don't know what else to say. And it just made me think of Kevin, which is her cousin, actually her first cousin. So she's now on Braxton's show, their show, and they didn't even tell her. Like, if I'm gonna be filming for something, first of all, if I show up for something, you tell me I'm filming, you didn't pay me, you didn't tell me, yeah, you can film your mother because you won't be filming me. So I think that is an insult. And I think it's terrible that you didn't even tell her that. And I said this from the beginning. I said, I think this is a setup. But again, y'all let me know what y'all think or whatever your thoughts are. Put them in the comments. But we now know that she's going to be in this upcoming season because, as y'all know, how they can slice and dice, something you film can actually be turned around to look like something different. So we'll see.